Are you ready to ignite your business and achieve your full potential? Welcome to Building Success Stories, the podcast that empowers entrepreneurs and business leaders. I'm Ann Donnelly, and I've spent over 4 decades in the business world. I've witnessed firsthand the power of perseverance, innovation, and strategic thinking. On this podcast, we'll explore the stories of successful entrepreneurs and business leaders, and we'll delve into the practical strategies and mindset shifts that can propel your business to new heights. Get ready to be inspired, motivated, and equipped with the tools you need to build a thriving business. So today I'm here in the beautiful showrooms of Joël Lynn Designs. They design kitchens, baths, and more. So I'm here with Joël now. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
Thank you so much for this opportunity to find out more. Why don't we start by talking about how you got started?
Well, I think the business of kitchen and bath design has always been in my family, actually. I had a great uncle that used to build cabinets out of South Glens Falls.
Oh, wow.
And my brother worked for him. And my mother's father was a builder. So having graph paper in our house and drawing up plans was always just a natural thing. When my parents were renovating their home, my mom was drawing up plans on graph paper. And my older brother taught me how to, measure the squares to see how many feet is in a square. And so he explained all that to me. So it was always something that I think we did in our family. And there's a part on my website that talks about when I was little, I play with Barbies, love Barbies, and I never had a Barbie dream house. So I used to draw in the carpeting, the rooms, and I would pretend those were the rooms, and I would draw my houses out. But I've always drawn houses out, did all that type of stuff when I was younger. And then my brother continued. One of his businesses was a kitchen and bath company, and he asked me to go work for him at one point after I had my youngest daughter to help organize the showroom because I'm very organized. And I just, came back to I'm curious about this. I want to learn more about how the designer at the time went about her work because I wanted to learn what am I organizing actually. So I used to take her plans home and draw over them and take orders and just try to understand what all this was about. So I somewhat self-taught myself, but it's always been in our family. Design, drawing. My younger brother does it. My older brother did it. So it's part of the family.
That's really interesting because you grew up with it around.
Yeah, but we always, it seemed like it was a fun thing to do. Instead of coloring, we would have graph paper out and we would draw out houses. And I always loved looking at house plans and magazines, and I still do, so it's just, I guess it's always been a part of us.
So the passion grew. And when did you turn it into a business of your own?
After COVID, during COVID, it was just very, you just didn't really know what was going on with the businesses. I worked for a gentleman that was extremely gracious and continued paying through the COVID. And, we would still have jobs here and there, but I didn't feel like it was enough. So I ended up going and I started repping a cabinet line, and I still was getting phone calls. Will you design this kitchen? Can you design a kitchen for me? Can you do this? So I thought, you know what? Okay, I'll do that. I'll go back and do it on the side a little bit. And then forget it. It just grew. It just grew. It really did. People were just calling and asking. So I worked out of my house for probably 2 years. And then is when I opened the showroom after that. I'm like, I need to get out of my house, go to work instead of working in the house. Cause that just wasn't good for me. I opened the showroom. It'll be 2 years in July. And it's been great. I love it. I love being in Glens Falls. My grandmother used to talk about downtown Glens Falls when it was beautiful. She used to talk about this particular building as the Empire Theater. And I remember the stories. It's a gorgeous building. So when this location became available, it just felt right. I'm like, this is where I need to be. So I love Glens Falls. I love the history of Glens Falls. So I love being part of Hometown USA.
So everything aligned for you.
Everything. It really does. Yeah.
And it's amazing that people were asking for you before you, because normally when someone starts up their own business, getting clients is the hardest part. Yeah. But you had the clients
I already had the
and then
clientele.
started
Yep.
the business.
And I worked with a lot of really good builders and contractors, and when I took that time off, they were still calling. They're like, "Can you do a kitchen?" And so it all worked out great. It's been wonderful.
So how have you found being self-employed versus working for another person?
I love it. And I don't think I could ever work for somebody again. That was probably the hardest things. I would want to do things a certain way. And, when you work for other people that own the business, they're really focused on the bottom line. And I have more of a passion, but I love doing the extras with my clients and helping my clients. It's a lot more hours. I look at it differently. I work late hours. I was here the past 2 nights till 11:30 at night, but I love what I do. And, so it's, I would never go back and work for somebody else again. No.
Do you have somebody working with you?
I have a part-time employee, Jacqueline. She just came on in March, and she's helping me organize the back part of the business, just getting what we call client portals going, just like a patient portal.
Yeah.
We have client portals where people can send in their inspiration pictures.
Oh, that's
and,
great.
when they purchase their appliances, they send them to her, and she has all these files organized for me, and I can just pull them up on my
Oh,
laptop.
that's great.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
great. She's young. She's energetic.
Yeah. Otherwise, that would take a lot more of your time up that you could better spend being creative and building relationships.
Yes. So she has been wonderful, like truly wonderful with that. So it's just, baby steps,
Hmm.
but I couldn't do it alone anymore. I needed somebody.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
That's good. Spend your time focusing on what's your
Exactly.
real value.
Yes. Yep. Because I don't like doing this
Mhm.
stuff.
Mhm.
Not at all. And I
Would it-
don't know a lot about, like, she was like, "Oh, there's a great program that we can use." I would never have known. And she knows all about it.
Mhm.
So she, fine tuned it and made it more, towards our business. And it's just amazing. I would never have been just like looking up
Mhm.
record, how you can record these meetings. It would take me forever to
Mhm.
find and then how to do it. I can
Yeah.
design a kitchen. I don't
Yeah.
want to do that.
Especially if you're not doing something every day,
Mm-hmm.
and then you got to remember in a month, like, wait, how does this program
Mhm.
work?
Exactly.
Yeah. So if somebody's more can focus on that part of it and let you do your thing,
Yes.
that's great that you found somebody
Yeah.
that works well for you.
And she's very creative herself. So she would love to learn more about the business. So I explained to her how I started, basically, is how she's starting.
Yeah.
And, that you have to know all this back stuff in order to be good at this, because you just need to know how it all works. There's a lot of moving parts. So she's figuring that out.
It's excellent. Passing on the torch, perhaps.
That is something that we do talk about. We have talked about. So I think I bring her in on meetings, and she has a lot of great ideas because she's very creative. With a business, with something like this, it's either you have it or you don't, and you can't learn. You can't learn a lot of this.
Yeah.
A lot of just comes very natural.
Because it's partly creativity, but then partly scientific, and that like everything has to add up. I designed my own kitchen. I was living in Ireland, and I didn't want to spend a ton of money. And I knew there was a secondhand furniture place that had some new furniture that was built by someone he knew of in Northern Ireland. So it was really nice, like Belfast sink units. So I'm like, can you do more of that for me? But I miscalculated when they actually came to put everything. It was freestanding pretty much, but I had a granite worktop and everything. So we were able to move some things around and still fit everything in, luckily, because there was a little space I had a Rayburn range. So I had a little bit of space on each side that we could shift things. But yeah, so I learned the hard way.
Yeah, it's not
better to hire somebody.
It's so true. And it's not, people think, "Oh, wow, that must be great. Like, you must love to make these beautiful kitchens." I do, but there's so much.
Yeah.
There's so many things that you have to think about when you're designing a kitchen. And then on top of it, it's ordering the kitchen, making sure the appliances are going to fit, making sure the handles of the appliances don't stick out too far. It's those things that some people don't really pay attention to. So, I go into many homes where people are like, "I want an island." Well, you can't have an island. It's not going to fit. Well, what do you mean it's not going to fit? Well, you need certain space around the island to walk around, and so you have to explain a lot of that to people. So like, I need an island. Well, You can put an addition on the back of your house and get an island if that's what you want to do, but you can't do it in the footprint that you have now. So there's a lot, a lot to it. Definitely a lot of calculations. And I was not a math person ever. I was a music theater.
Oh, really?
So I went away to school to be, I was a vocal major at the Crane School of Music. I loved doing that as a passion, but I didn't want to do that for my life. That's not what I wanted to. I didn't want to be a music teacher. So now I forgot where I was going. Oh, so I was not a math person. That's all I deal with now. Fraction, decimals, all. If you have something off an eighth of an inch, you can't make something fit in an eighth of an inch if you're short. So you really have to pay attention to all that.
So they're counting on you to do all that correctly. But there must be computer systems for that, but still to a point.
There are, but you still, there's now laser where you can measure with the laser. I just don't always trust it. And even with the programs, the kitchen and bath programs that are connected to the different lines I carry, there's room for error, so you really have to double check the different levels of it all.
So you've done a range of different things. Like you said, you do kitchens, bathrooms, fireplace surrounds, laundry. Yeah, I was going to say probably all of those sorts of things. What's kind of been one of the more interesting projects you've had to take on?
My goodness. I love the older homes in Glens Falls.
Harder though to
sometimes. I think my passion is to take these older homes and bring them back to life. I go for walks in Glens Falls and I look at the buildings. We have some amazing, beautiful buildings here. And I do think about, I wonder what went on in this house. What's the history of this house? So when I do go into one of these homes, I kind of want to keep the character of the home. I don't really care much what the trends are. I want to make sure that what I'm doing fits that home. So there's one particular home on Sheridan that I did, and the homeowner was amazing. She was very eclectic. She wanted different. And that was really a fun project because we were able to change some things around and that made the room more useful. But it's a fun kitchen. You walk into it, just the whole house. She's done an amazing job. So that's always fun too when you have a client that wants to do something different. But there's quite a few homes that, not one particular that I can really think of. I'm working on. I just finished up an amazing home in Saratoga. They're just all so different. They're almost like my babies, I guess. It's hard to pick which one you like the most because I'm thinking, as my mind right now is going through a lot of them that I absolutely loved working on.
So that's interesting. So again, you don't just work in Glens Falls, Saratoga, this area. How far away have you done work for?
I have done kitchens before in Florida, Pennsylvania. I designed a kitchen for a project out in the UK. Never, but I did design the project. One thing COVID did bring us is Zoom. And it's been wonderful because a lot of my clients had their summer homes up here, like George, Saratoga, but they're not living here. So there's a lot of Zoom calls where I can share my screen and show them just like I would if we were sitting here. So yes, even though some of the homes are up here, the clients actually aren't here. They may be in Florida.
And that they may then want you to do work on their homes down there. Yeah. I have a friend that's a builder and he ends up traveling because he's done work for them up here.
They trust you. One of my first projects, that happened to, it was a client who was from Alexandria, Virginia, and we did their summer home. And when they redid their home down there, they wanted me to do it. I'm sure this was 20 years ago, so it was a little different. Because we were faxing.
He asked me for a fax number the other day, and I was like, "Do people still have fax?"
Yep.
And do you get most of your work through like word of mouth?
Yes, I would say most of it is through word of mouth. But again, I've worked with a lot of the same builders through the years. I have a handful of contractors that I work with. So, we keep each other busy. And then just, previous homeowners or, people that I've designed something for 15 years ago come back. So that's always fun.
Would 15 years be kind of the life of a kitchen design?
Funny. I'm working on a project now in Saratoga that I designed back about 15 years ago, and we're redoing. It's a new homeowner, and she found out that I did the kitchen before, so she contacted me. She actually is out of Kentucky. They're horse people, so I have a lot of the horse people. It's our area. Her interior designer reached out to find out who did the kitchen first, and so he called me and said, would you be interested? Most definitely. But yeah, 15, 20 years. I was in a home yesterday that was built in 2006. 20 years. So it definitely needs a freshen up.
So when you're going into a new project, what do you look at to get your inspiration?
A lot of it does come from the client. We start out our first meeting is before we meet. I actually like to see what they're thinking about, their inspiration. And then it's just the feel of the home, feel of the people. I can see how they like to decorate, and when they're sharing their lifestyle, take all that into consideration. New homes, basically, you're already getting a whole bunch of inspiration pictures that they want their new home to look like. That's another thing. You have Pinterest, House, all these, like they can send and save pictures. So that really helps me gear my design to what they're looking for. It doesn't mean it's always right for the home. I did have a project that I walked away from. It was a big project in Saratoga, and it was a beautiful Victorian home, beautiful. And she wanted to take down all the molding. I would say this is probably about 15 years ago. She wanted to do a stainless kitchen with purple cabinets, and I couldn't do it. I'm like, I don't want people walking in here saying, who did this kitchen? So I wouldn't do it. So it's the feel of the house. Like I said before, I feel that homes have like a personality.
And you probably, from your experience, because you've been doing this for like 20 years. 24 years. You kind of have a feel for if something's going to work or not, and people may not be ready to hear it.
You approach that very gingerly, and it's when you have a husband and a wife.
I can imagine.
I've been
Getting in the middle.
I've been a marriage counselor. Yes, I've had to do all that. I've worked with one of the spouses, and the other spouse comes in, they're like, no, this is not what we're doing, after you've done all the work. And the other spouse is like, no, we don't like it. I don't like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have to make sure they're on the same page. And if not, I'm very honest. If sometimes I don't ever want one to feel that I'm on their side more than the other, but I'll say, this is my opinion. This is what I would do.
And these are very important rooms in a house because they have to be functional. They're like part of your day in, day out life. So I'm sure you take those sorts of things into consideration.
Definitely. How many kids they have, if they have grandchildren, how many pets do you have? Do you need a location for your dog dishes and cats? Do you entertain? Some people entertain a lot, others do not. Yeah, we have a whole questionnaire asking people.
Oh, yeah.
Those type of questions, so you have an idea. Grown children, a lot of people will say, oh, our children are out of the house. So I'm like, yep. But those children, this is your life home. This is where you're going to be forever. Those children may get married and may have kids. So you kind of have to think about all that.
Yeah. Yeah, because if you're thinking of 15 years, the life of the kitchen or bathroom, you have to be prepared of what might change in your life in those times. Like older people could be having other considerations of making it accessible.
Yes. I am working with a client now. I want to say he's like 6'5", and I don't know, he's a big guy. He's like a big lumberjack type guy. And he brought his plans, and they have an area, the wet room, the toilet is only 3 feet wide.
You can't bend over.
You're not even going to be able to get in there. It's like, so I literally have that talk. Okay, you're a big guy, and I'm sitting in my chair, and I measure out 3 feet. And he's like, I'm not going to be able to, it's going to be so claustrophobic. So I look at more than just the cabinetry. I look at the whole space and how it's going to work for people. And I take consideration, okay, a husband could be 6'4" and his wife could be 5 feet, which I've had that happen.
I have a challenge of high cupboard spaces.
And you have to take all that into consideration. So there's so many variables.
I also wanted mine to be practical to clean because some of these beautiful little features gather dust and are hard to clean. I think too, again, it depends on your lifestyle.
It's Also funny to the age differences. People that are more in their 50s, 60s, or 70s, like, we don't want to clean. That we know what we know.
You
And
learn,
when
right?
you're like, oh, I want this, I want that. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
just think about when you have to clean that. And they're like, oh, yeah, they're not
Yeah.
thinking like
A
that.
shower stall that's
Right.
not very big is hard
Mhm.
to get in there.
Yes, exactly. Clean it. So take all that into consideration for sure.
And what do you have an idea of, like, the different percentages of, like, kitchens to bathrooms, the amount of time you spend working those types of?
No, every job is different. I've had jobs where I've come up with a preliminary plan and they're like, love it, priced it. Yes, we're good. I've worked on projects for 2 years.
Back and forth.
Yeah, it takes some of them take a lot of time. Some people know exactly what they want. Some people have no idea. Some people have to bring their friends in after they already made all the decisions. They're
no.
like, oh, my friend Susie wants to come in and look what we're doing. And then Susie says, oh, you don't want
Yeah.
it's like, oh boy. So
It is a big commitment, though,
Mhm.
because, like I said, it is the day in, day out of your life. It's money, and you've got to live around this.
Yeah, one of the questions that I ask is, what don't you like about your space?
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
That's a good
Tell me
question.
what you
Yeah.
don't like. And everybody has
Yeah.
something.
So that's very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So any sort of upcoming changes for the future or your vision of where you're going to be going with this?
I work with a lot of younger people and I love their energy. I love their enthusiasm. I love their drive to make something. I'm a little bit at a different stage in my life now. I've done a lot and I'm not looking for the accolades anymore.
Mhm.
I'm just doing this because I love doing this.
Yeah.
So as in growing my business, I don't see me growing
Yeah.
it any.
Because you're enjoying doing it yourself.
I love I actually love working by myself. It was really hard when I brought Jacqueline in because people would walk in, how can you stay in here all day long by yourself? I love it. I absolutely 100% love it. I don't care to bring on a big staff. I don't want to do that. I find that the amount I'm working on, I think we counted 33 projects right now. I don't want any more than that. And even if I brought people in, I'm still responsible.
Yeah. It's your vision.
I love what I do. And I'm also, I'm in my later 50s, so I don't want to do this forever. There is an end goal, so I just love being here in Glens Falls. I am super excited for all the growth that is happening here, so I just want to be part of it. I just want to be my little showroom, be part of it. If you hears this, just stop and say hi.
That's a great message to put out there. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining me in this episode of Building Success Stories. Are you ready to take your business to the next level? I've got you covered. Visit my website, AnnDonnellySuccessStories.com, to access additional resources and sign up for my newsletter. And to work with me directly, visit AnnDonnelly.com to learn more about my services as a fractional COO and business consultant. And don't forget to subscribe to this podcast on your favorite platform and never miss an episode. Until next time, keep building your success story.